Welcome to this theatre. Very glad to be joining you today. I'm Martin Taylor. I'm the co-founder and deputy CEO of Content Guru. And we thought in this particular date, we've got the COP climate summit going on in Brazil. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here has just started. So we thought we'd generate an AI jungle and kind of use that as a tortuous metaphor for the CX journey and where things are going today. So bear with me while we go through this. Now, we're hearing a lot about AI, apocalyptic stuff, end of the world, Terminator level, down to more grounded fears of I'm going to lose my job. So we've heard a lot about companies announcing that they're going to reduce their headcount by 10,000 or 50,000 and it's AI. Actually, it's more likely in this country to be NI or just simply the cycle of employment. You kind of overhire and then you kind of let that drop off and then there'll be another cycle in this sine wave. So it's been a lot of hype really about AI. But then on the other side, you've got more recent and informed research. So this is MIT, it's the State of AI in Business 2025 report, came out at the end of August. So they've surveyed a lot of Gen AI and 95% of it is delivering no value. So considering the millions, billions that are being spent on this, that's a very worrying statistic and likely to kind of deflate the AI bubble. So our job is to not be in that 95%, and luckily in the CX sphere, we're in the ideal place to apply AI because we have already optimized our processes, our people, we've got good clean data, so all the ingredients that you need to navigate this AI jungle. So we're going to be looking, as I said, about the tortuous metaphor, the ecosystem, the CX ecosystem, how that's under strain in terms of the customers, the people are working, delivering that great experience, the expectations. We're going to be seeing who's currently king of this CX jungle, where is the jungle evolving, and then we're going to talk a little about symbiosis, so human and AI working together. Firstly, a little bit about Content Guru, just a couple of minutes intro, kind of where our viewpoints come from. Content Guru is a CX as a service provider. According to a survey we paid McKinsey to do for us, we are the leader in this market here. And the UK, they said, is actually the second highest spend CX market in the world. It's a distant second. The US is hugely bigger. But if you think about it, we have good levels of customer experience here. We've got a sophisticated consumer base and a highly capable workforce. Content Guru's background is in automation. So before we came into contact center, going back 20 odd years when we were founded, we were all about TV voting. So we did all the voting for Big Brother, X Factor, Pop Idol, and so on. So our background is heavy automation, network level, big spiky campaigns. And then from there, we migrated into customer experience and contact center in our cloud. Our cloud platform we call Storm, so it's omni-channel, so it's voice, it's email, it's all of the social channels, it's chat, and increasingly Internet of Things, so these IoT devices, connected devices. There's a prediction there'll be 39 billion connected IoT devices by 2030, representing people, so there'll be sensors in your home, detecting if you're moving, breathing, if it's too hot, what's generally going on around there. So if we think about the contact center as a subset of CX, and then CX is expanding its horizons now into all of this new machine customer automation world. And obviously a big part of what we do is now AI, and we call that brain. When we trademarked the Storm brand back in the noughties, we figured AI was just around the corner, so we trademarked Brain. We thought it was pretty clever, it had AI in it. We weren't probably expecting to wait into the 2020s to be deploying lots of AI, but that's how it's gone. So Content Guru, part of Redwood Technologies Group, Storm platform, Brain orchestration layer. In terms of where we are, we actually operate our own cloud. So each of these are Content Guru companies, offices, and we also operate what we call availability zones for our cloud. I think this year we've seen that the notion of a public cloud doesn't really exist. All clouds belong to somebody. So as we saw with the AWS outage, that took out a lot of organizations because clouds belong to organizations. We look after our cloud very carefully because it runs lots of critical national infrastructure services. Every 999 ambulance call in this country goes through our Storm platform. It's a pretty important bit of responsibility to deliver that. Just as an example, most of communications for our energy companies, again, managed in this platform, and we do the same across the world. So although we are in Silicon Valley, we are headquartered in the Thames Valley. So very unusually, we are actually a UK owned and operated company. We're also in Glasgow, a lot going on. They're very happy after last night in the Glasgow office. But crucially, data centers in Britain. People want to know, particularly as we move into AI, where is my data and my customers' data being processed? Who has access to it? People are starting to become aware of things like the US Cloud Act, which can compel a vendor to send data, even if it's overseas, to the US because the US government wants it. And similarly, FISA, very similar, Foreign Intelligence Services Act. They can be, again, compelled, whether it's for a subpoena for a court or for a security reason, to take your customer's data and send it abroad. People are rightfully concerned about that. We like to talk about being big in CX and leading in AI. So as I pointed out, customer experience is the place to deploy AI because we've got optimization that's been refined over probably about 4 decades now since the first integrated contact centers came into being. As I said, we like to trade on availability. It goes back to our TV days. If Ant and Dec put the number on the screen and everyone called and it didn't work, there'd be a big problem. Or if you added up the votes and you got it wrong, again, that would be front page news back then. So availability at scale, dealing with those spikes. When the power goes out in London, the number of people who need to contact UK power networks is immense. And they've got to deal with that and not go down and take the network with them. Security, thanks to Co-op, JLR, M&S, that's got a much higher profile. And again there, we've put 4 years and many millions of dollars investment into being the only full stack CCaaS vendor with FedRAMP High accreditation, involving 421 separate security protocols that we have to comply with. The result of that is that our customers have the highest customer satisfaction ratings in their sectors, whether they are a utility, a part of government, like the DVLA you may have heard from in one of the other theatres this morning, most improved part of government according to the UK CSI survey, or they're a retailer wanting competitive advantage. The AI aspect, as I said, we operate an orchestration layer in Brain. So we make some parts of AI ourselves. We've got great capabilities in-house, but there are so many LLM vendors and makers of specialist tech in AI, and our job is really to horizon scan those and see how we can bring those together into customer experience environments. What do the analysts say? Well, the Gartner Magic Quadrant is seen as the bellwether. We're the only challenger. It's globally weighted towards the US. So otherwise, when they used to have a Western Europe Magic Quadrant, we were the top right player by some distance. Notably, we are the only non-US headquartered organization in that Magic Quadrant. So again, if things like data sovereignty, security, and data integrity matter to you and your customers, that is a factor here and in Europe. So we operate European availability zone, UK availability zone, and even a specific German one. Another piece of research over the summer, both of these came out within a week of each other in September, but this is ISG. ISG manage a wider cohort, so you can see more names on there. But again, there we are as an exemplary vendor, the place you'd want to be. Also, over the summer, you get the Gartner Voice of the Customer annual report. So they interview thousands of managers and bosses of people who run CX and contact center operations, and they ask them what they think about the tech that they've got. So we're delighted that we got a 4.9 rating, which is, by the way, out of 5 and not 10. And even better, 100% of those surveyed would recommend. We know there's only one place to go from 100%, but we're very happy. So I think if maybe over a quarter of your customers wouldn't recommend anyone follow their substantial investment, then that's potentially problematic. G2 interview the worker bees, the people who work in the contact centers, who use the tech day to day. And interestingly, the star rating gap builds there because these guys have to work. This is their home screen. So they've got their calls, their emails, their chats, their socials, all happening on one screen. It's a very easy place to work. They like it, and it's a significant lead over even our most esteemed competitors. And importantly, G2 also measure how fast do you get your money back. So return on investment being super quick in the current constrained economic climate is super important. So 8 months is pretty good. And obviously with the march of AI, we envisage getting that down. Our customers want to see the return on investment that same year. I was presenting at a workshop at CCW in Vegas over the summer with one of our US banking customers. And he was amazed, the guy speaking with me, that we'd implemented his project in 2 months. He thought it was a completely unrealistic time frame that we'd set. He had previously been working with one of these others in the list, who I won't name, and when he left after 18 months to join this other bank, it still wasn't finished. So you can't get return on investment until it's in the ground working and serving the customers. Anyway, so that's enough about us. Let's go into the ecosystem. So these pesky customers, they don't want things to just remain the same. They're expecting now an omni-channel environment. So when they contact your organization, they call you, they send you an email, there's a chat, they're going in over the socials, they expect you to know about all of those channels and different ways that they've been in to see you over the days and weeks before. Let's think of an example where maybe you make a call and then maybe you speak, you say what it is that you want, you receive a text message, there's a link, and then there's a form to fill on your mobile screen. That's 3 channels already. So 2.4, I believe, is the current average number of channels in use. But more problematically, over a quarter, according to the latest UK CSI survey, of British consumers, this isn't an omni-channel stat, it's multiple channels. So they go in, they're not able to sort themselves out, and they've got to start all over again in another channel and re-explain themselves. That is hugely bad customer service. If we go over to McKinsey, they'll tell us from their research this year that 57% of leaders are expecting a 20% increase in voice traffic. And here we are, thinking voice is dead, it's all going to be digital self-service. But no, when it's particularly complex, urgent, emotional, people want to talk. So I think we've got to recognise that people are going to want to talk. We can't change that behaviour. We need to change the way that we deal with the talking to make that into a fully digital channel. And then going to Forrester, unsurprisingly, most people now want a 24/7 service. If we think of what are office hours, that's less than a quarter of the hours in the week. So the other 3/4 of the time is when these people aren't working and they're expecting to get their admin sorted, and that's by you guys. So that's for customer expectations. In terms of what that then means, well, 75% of inquiries being resolved in real-time channels like voice. That's from McKinsey again. So people want stuff sorted quickly. They want it sorted now, in the moment, because they've got their time poor, they're busy, they want it sorted immediately. But although it's strenuous dealing with these real-time channels, we're actually 12 is the average number of channels now that we're dealing with. So you think, how can there even be 12? It's mainly by adding up the socials is how you get to that number. So if you thought you were busy dealing with the voice traffic and maybe some chat, and now you've got all these other channels as well, that's a big increase in workload. And so unsurprisingly, workload is always the number one source of job dissatisfaction, the driver of churn. So you've got 96% of frontline agents reporting stress, and that's from overwork. So that's a fairly serious situation, not just in terms of a customer expectation, but what we think of as the internal customer, the worker who's providing this great service. So we want to make them into the king of the CX jungle. So who is the king? Is it AI? Is it the human? It's not a lion, because lions don't live in jungles. So we've gone for the tiger. We think right now the king is the AI-augmented human. So how's AI augmentation working? Well, if we think of the 75% real-time interactions that go on in the world, beforehand, you've got particularly NLP, natural language processing, is a kind of key technology here. If you call 111 in London because you're feeling ill, you're likely to be met, firstly, not with an IVR menu, but with a why are you calling question, an open question. People normally express themselves in about 2 to 5 sentences. Using a small language model that we built, an SBERT, and a retrieval augmented generation grid, we map that onto one of about 180 categories. And those categories will lead to perhaps a self-service route, maybe collecting more information on a form, or going through to a health advisor, or putting you in a queue for a doctor to call you back. So before, we can do a lot, all of that filtration, the triage. During, so you're talking to the agent, they need information. So the old stat was always that 10% of time on a call was spent with the customer on hold while the agent looked things up. Increasingly now, we're surfacing the information that agent needs from reliable knowledge sources in real time. So if you think of a lot of the training that goes on, it's about where to find stuff. You've got to go to this tab, you've got to go to that system of record. If we're able to surf through that very, very quickly and instantly present in bite size what you need to say now, that's very useful for the during. Could even be doing language translation now. All the while it's going to be taking notes, taking a transcription, so you're not having to do the typing anymore. And then afterwards, those notes are converted into some form of a summary. So it might be that it's filling in some CRM forms that you just have to edit. It may be, in some cases, one you're going to see later, it makes a whole CV for a universal credit customer to help them find a new job. And then, leaving aside the frontline contact center worker, think of all the auditing, the scoring, the quality management that goes on. We can score all of those interactions for CSAT and for quality. So now the auditor isn't looking for call recordings, they're actually being directed to the cases that need their attention. And these are very high value resources, sometimes £100 an hour plus people. So that before, during and after, that's the current phase of what we would call the kind of augmented era that I believe we're currently living in now. So the message is that humans aren't being replaced, not anytime soon. So when you have AI and the human, you are reducing costs, which is what people mostly cut to. I want to reduce costs. So yes, 30% according to McKinsey, but importantly, customer satisfaction goes up, also from McKinsey, 15 to 20%. The actual workers, generally about half of them think AI is going to improve their job, particularly if they've actually been experiencing it. They're not having to do those note-taking exercises anymore. It's all happening for them. And actually, it's not on here, but some contact-able research that we commissioned this year, 44% of respondents said that actually cutting heads wasn't even up there in their priorities. So it's really about customer satisfaction and getting that CX level up to increase competitive advantage and differentiation. But it's 2025, isn't it all meant to be agentic by now? So agentic, the idea, obviously you've probably heard it a million times in recent weeks. It's really all about AI having an objective and working towards that. And actually, if you come to the Content Guru stand later, we've got our agentic demo. It's called Aggie, the agentic agent. You can have all sorts of dialogues and get things resolved in a number of scenarios in that agentic way. But it's not the case that agentic is here and now. So right now, as I said, we're in the augmented era. Moving then to human in the loop. So we're doing some interesting things, such as scanning calls to see if there are possible signs that this could be about cancer in a medical context. And then, of course, we're surfacing that to the human, the clinician, that you might want to consider this could be a cancer case, and we're requiring a 2-week referral. So the human is very much in charge. But then if we work up the y-axis to more work being handled semi-autonomous, so perhaps it can make certain decisions up to a point. And then the vision is a fully agentic future one day. But Gartner predict that by 2028, precisely 0 Fortune 5 companies will be fully agentic, having replaced all of their human contact center agents. Because the place to do that experimenting is not with your very fickle consumers. So right now we're moving from the age of deflection. Don't call us. Let's hide the phone number so they can't find it. Never mind the customer effort score. Let's just send them to a website and they can try and sort themselves out. It's now moved to containment. Containment where things actually get resolved within the automated environment. But you need to be able to break out of containment into human intervention. So that's where we are with the semi-autonomous world. So if we think of how do we make that possible? Well, we've all got lots of systems of record. And one of our big customers, possibly our largest actually, we've implemented over 40,000, I think, agents for them in over 20 countries. Their average agent is working with 13.8 systems of record. That's a lot of systems of record. So if you think again of the average 3-month training, a lot of that is where to find things, where to save things. Think of the whole robotic process automation industry. It's take that from there and enter it in there. What we now have is customer data platforms. We have one ourselves. It's called CKS. So for example, next week that goes live as the Police Scotland national CRM for that police service. And it's incorporating lots of other systems of record underneath, plus 17.5 million records that we've imported and cleansed. So customer data platforms, absolutely crucial for overlaying all of these diverse systems of record and then presenting up a single view to the agent. And importantly, a single view to the AI. AI needs good, clean data in order to work. It needs kind of high-octane racing fuel. You can't just feed it the heating oil and expect it to go very fast. What then makes the customer data platform a system of action is what we call an event listener service. So event listener service is then looking out for changes either from interactions, possibly from an IoT device somewhere, or changes in systems of record underneath, feeding up into the customer data platform, and then it takes an action. Might be triggering someone in the contact center to do something, could be an automated outreach to an individual, maybe to take a reading again or something else. So having that is what gives us then the ability to do this big scaling that we all want to do. So then, is it about this oppositional, human versus machine? We think not. We think they're collaborators, not competitors. Chess computers have long ago been able to beat most chess players, but an average chess player working with a chess computer can pretty much beat any computer or any player. So working together is absolutely the way to not be in that 95, but to get instead into the 5%. So really expanding recklessly now on the jungle analogy, we're asked to imagine the Cecropia tree as being AI, and we're the Azteca ants here. So I'm not quite sure about the wisdom of humans as ants, but here we are. what do? They guard the tree, so they set the guardrails. So in this case, it could be, in the CX sense, confidence thresholds. You can't AI take that decision unless you're above 99% confident that it's correct. Checkpoints. No, you can't issue a refund, Aggie, the agentic chatbot. Only a human can authorize that. And then being able to intervene, sort of to cut in even mid-flow and take over. So very much keeping that human in the loop. That's where we are right now. When we do this, what does it mean? We increase productivity, according to Jabra research. Customer satisfaction goes up by 1/5. Average handle time reduces by getting on for a half. So these are big changes. So I'll just round off for the last couple of minutes with a couple of examples of people who are doing this well.
Yes.
This is Dion. He works in Cardiff for Serco. So he's part of a program called Restart. So it's operated for the Department of Work and Pensions to help people who've lost their job get quickly into employment. So in his work as a job coach, he deals with lots of newly unemployed people and then comes up with an action plan and writes a CV for them. So he's suffered, unfortunately, brain injury and he has dyslexia, but he's great with people. So we've totally taken all the stress and anxiety out of his job, but instead he's saving 100 minutes per day. The quality of the output is higher, and they are increasing the number of actions because he's not doing all these notes anymore. He's just doing the interacting. And then the last one is Together. So they're a bank. They lend to primarily property developers. So these property developers, there'll be a call with a frontline agent, up to about half an hour normally, and then it's handed over to an assessor in the back office. So what the AI has done here is it's improved the quality of all that note-taking. It's reduced that average handle time significantly. It's taking 6 minutes off the end of the call in the wrap time, and it's delivering higher quality notes into the assessor, who's a higher paid person, let's face it, in the back office. And then that's saving them 9 minutes as well. So they're getting through at least a whole extra load per person per shift. So that's a massive result for them. So lastly then, we've concluded it's about coexistence. Agentic, yes, is coming, but we'll remember it's right at the top of that graph. It's going to continue improving, but you obviously need to be delivering a service whilst that improvement takes place. So you can find out more about this by going over there. There's a banner that says we're big in CX, we lead in AI. It's black. Underneath there you'll find the Content Guru stand. We're proud of our partnership with the WWF. We have a WWF-themed meeting room. Everyone who books the meeting and turns up, there will be a donation to the WWF. You can also get a nice Jaguar plushie that they've kindly given us a load of. I think they're rather nice. I haven't named this, but you come up with your own name anyway. We'd be delighted to speak with you. We're here today, tomorrow, and thank you for listening.